Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the workshop session. And I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Here.
Cook. Here. Hannett. Here. O'Donnell. Here. Ruben DeSellis.
Here.
Scott. Speed. Here. Wonkel. Watts.
Here.
Williams. Where is it?
Here.
See, Trump here.
Here.
Thank you. Well, just one item that I'll remind to tell Mike too, but you're all invited, very informal, but we're gonna have a ribbon cutting at 11 a.m. on Thursday. Only time we can do it during the day with Mr. Gilbreth. It's a ribbon cutting of our new boat ramp, accessible boat ramp at Movistar Lake Movistar. So that's at 11 o'clock on Thursday. Very informal, but aldermen, everybody's welcome. But there'll be more. I'll make the announcement, and then I'm sure Jeremy will follow up. And social media wise, we'll have Brittany and Kristen and Lisa kind of pump that out social media, and it won't last long, but you're more than welcome. Okay. Outside of that, committee reports tonight: Finance, IT, and Personnel. Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item tonight to discuss reimbursement of the STU funds. Skip or Dan?
That would be me. Me and Mr. Burke. Back in 2009 and 2010, the city received a STU grant for work at Tendick from Morton to Michigan, West Michigan, to redo that whole road that runs along Lincoln Square. And we did a lot of engineering. Things were put on the shelf. STU funds were used. Now we're somewhere along the line we decided that that wasn't necessary to do. So they have they've worked with the state for 10 years and keeping us from having to pay this back, but now we have to pay it back. So basically the bottom line is those funds were used for engineering through a grant that basically should have been used through general fund. So general fund now has to pay that grant back back to the state of Illinois, the Illinois Department of Transportation. $56,399, $899. Any questions?
What if we say no?
Pardon?
What if we say no?
You probably wouldn't get any more STU funds. I got a little nod from Mr. Burke there, so.
You'll have to pay me in addition to the state at that stage. And if you remember, this years ago involved the development behind the Jiffy gas station and perhaps putting in a stoplight there. And when that all became not a high priority item for the city, the development never took off, where it used to be an old trailer park back there. Once that development kind of fell through, there's no reason to proceed with the project, yet the engineering had already been done. So that's basically, we're repaying the state for those engineering funds that they advanced.
So just a question, if we ever decided to move forward with that project, because I know it looks like there's some movement going on where the former trailer park was, not that we'd ever put a stoplight in, but whatever the engineering, do we have that
Yes.
in our possession?
Yes.
You have it? Okay, awesome.
Plans are pretty final, so whenever you guys decide to pick it up, we just bring them up to current standards and submit them.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Skip. Planning and Public Works tonight. Alderman Wonkel, would you like to handle that for Alderman Scott's absence, please?
Number one, discuss accepting the notice of state award for the Rebuild Illinois Fast Public Infrastructure Grant Well Suppression System. And I think, Jamie, you're gonna talk about that?
Sure.
Tell us what we...
Yeah, this is related to the Illinois Rebuild Fast Track Grant application for the well surge suppression system that was submitted last May, and here we are a year later. Working through some of the paperwork, the city received the notice of state award. So right now, city council needs to give the city clerk authorization to go ahead and accept that. And from that acceptance, then you'll get the actual grant agreement, maybe 30, 60 days, somewhere around there, and then we'll have another action to take at that point. Once that's finally done, then we can move forward with the construction at that point, maybe middle, later summer, somewhere around there. Anything else on your end, Skip, on that?
Do you have the dollar amount?
Yeah, $815,200 is the grant dollar amount, and that's the total project cost.
Jamie, you want to fill the new members in about the surge suppression tank?
Yeah.
What that basically does?
Yep, the surge suppression system down at the wells is to account for pressure transients in the pipeline. Sometimes when the wells shut off due to a power fail or other items, the 23 miles of pipeline has a lot of surging that goes on, and the pressures spike really high, but they also dip really low. So there's an expansion and a contraction of that concrete transmission main. So this is a tank that goes in kind of like you have in your house above the faucets, where it'll keep those pressures down and try to protect that pipeline.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie. Number 2, discuss engineering agreement for North Diamond Street improvements, and I think we have Mr. Jim Burke here this evening. He loves talking about these roads and stuff.
Boring, isn't it? Good evening. As you all may or may not know, I don't know if the mayor's made the announcement or not, you received a grant through Senator McClure for, I think it was $500,000, if I remember correctly, for the improvement in North Diamond back to JHS. The proposed improvement will include milling and resurfacing, all new sidewalk, handicap accessibility, bicycle accommodations, and we're going to take a look at the signals at Walnut as well. We'll be moving forward on that fairly quickly and get that project done. We'd like to even try to get it this year. It'll depend on how quick DECIO can get the grant work process, but we're shooting to have that done yet this year. So.
It's real, Senator McClure, he wants to make an announcement, but he said, hey, we got to get the ball rolling on this for the timing. So it's a good grant. It spruces up the entrance to our high school. That road's deteriorating, Diamond, and adding new sidewalks. So it's a real good project, and I think it'll benefit a lot of folks. So we were happy to work with Senator McClure on that, and we got her done. So thank you.
And number 3, discuss vacating an unnamed extension of North Westgate Avenue.
We have received a request from Pasvin Hospital to vacate a kind of a T street located west of Westgate, directly west of the hospital. The drawing is in your files, and we have representatives, the attorney for Pasvin Hospital, Daniel Hamilton, is here, and Jim Krug as well from Pasvin. And if you, as new members of the council, you might not be familiar with the way a alley or street vacation occurs. Once a request is obtained from an adjoining property owner for this type of vacation, the council determines whether it's necessary that the city still maintain this street or relinquish control and ownership of it to a private party. If this were an alley, for example, running between a row of houses, 50% of the alley goes to each adjoining property owner. In this case, Pasvin owns all of the property surrounding this street. And Pasvin has some pretty exciting plans for why they want to do this. Dan, I'll let you go ahead and take it.
Great, thanks Dan, I
Discussion
appreciate
goes.
it. And we appreciate the time that Mr. Beard and the mayor have spent with us recently discussing this matter. As Mr. Beard said, it's a T-shaped road that we're seeking to be vacated, and it's primarily for 2 reasons. One is for an immediate project that Pasvin's exploring that'll be a drive-through laboratory facility. Patients really love these drive-through laboratory facilities. Not only are they great in the time of COVID and all the social distancing we need to do, but it's also very convenient for patients. And as a result of that, Pasvin would like to put a drive-through facility in the northeast corner of this subdivision. I'm sorry, northwest corner of this subdivision. And in order to do that, really necessary to eliminate the street parking. The parking on the street condenses the space available on the street, and it creates a bit of a safety issue right now. Right now, there's not much traffic, to and from the offices that are there. But once you get more people coming in for laboratory services, it's going to increase traffic. And the street is about 2.5 car widths wide. And if you've got street parking on both sides, and you've got potentially elderly folks coming to the drive-through facility, it's a recipe for disaster. So in order to increase the safety, it will be good to vacate the street and allow Passavant to then look at the secondary goal, which is long-term planning, and what can that space be used for in the long term. Of course, there's no plans on the table right now, nothing of that nature, but the immediate need is safety. And there's been ongoing discussions with the ball field owners to the immediate west of this property. We understand that some of their patrons may currently use that street parking. And we're talking to them about ways that Passavant can assist them if this street parking is eliminated. So I think any concern there has been addressed, and we're looking forward to moving forward with the vacation of the street. I can also give you some history on the street. It was originally a private street, and then about in the 90s at some point it was provided to the city, and now we're asking it for it to become private again. So, it's a back and forth, and who knows, maybe you'll get it back in 10 years, who knows?
Yep.
I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Well, if there's no questions, I think we're going to boogie and not hang around for the first reading.
That's fine.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, thank you. And for the, the new members, ordinances vacating, this takes 2 readings. So, a lot of times over the course, there may be concerns. That's why we established those 2 readings, where if you pass it tonight, and the whole town's in uproar, then the next time, the second reading, they've got time, and you can say, no, we're not doing it, so that's kind of how we build it. But they've been very good to work with it, and they have reached out to the Jamesons, who are, when you have 2 entities of the hospital and the ballparks that do a lot of good things for Jacksonville, it's good that they're all on the same page together on this. Public protection, Alderman Large Oldenow, would you handle this one tonight?
Sure. Excuse me. We have one item this evening, discuss waiving bids and accepting proposal for live scan equipment and software. Sure, thank
right
you.
ahead.
Please come up.
That's sad. Yeah.
Wasn't sure if it was him or Phil.
This is just a formal request for what I talked about at the last council meeting, about the live scan equipment in partnership with Midwest Youth Services as somewhat of a deflection program from the criminal justice system to be able to process our own juveniles in-house in the police department. Tonight, what I'm asking for is for the approval to spend the money on Jacksonville's obligation. If you see in your packet, I provided a breakdown of the expenses. Did that come in your packets? No, must have been just an oversight, but I had that. I have a copy of it. I can email it out if anybody wants a specific copy, but it breaks down to, the total cost came out to $21,640. The first installment of that would be due at the end of the month. In the first installment, $17,170, which $10,000 of that is covered by Midwest Youth Services grant. $7,170 is covered by JPD's portion of it to come from the JPD Trauma Fund. And the second installment in July of 2021 would be $4,470, which Midwest Youth will be picking up that bill as well. So I thought in the initial onset that our portion would be around $10,000. It looks like it's going to be more like $7,100. So we were able to trim a little bit of the expense off, but if any questions on the live scan. The reason why we waived the bidding process is we went out actually and talked to different companies. The company we went with is from Illinois because they can provide real-time support services for us, actually send a person to help us.
I think it's a good initiative, so, yeah. Thanks. Okay, utility, Alderman Walkle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're only gonna have 3 items tonight. Number 1, Superintendent Herron will bring that back to us at a later date, so we'll postpone that. So moving on to number 2, discuss engineering proposal for the wastewater treatment plant blower building roof replacement project. And Jamie Hayden is on deck again.
All right, thank you. Yeah, the blower building at the wastewater treatment plant is needing replaced. So we got a proposal together tonight. There's 3 tasks in the proposal, A, B, and C. A, plans and specifications. Task B is the assistance during the proposal process. And then C is through construction for a total of $8,100. This roof would be replaced most likely middle of the summer and at latest probably early fall. Ricky had a budget item of $40,000 in his 5-year capital plan. And if approved, we'd get going on that very soon and try to get it done pretty quick. I want to note too, we've talked in the past about wastewater improvements at the treatment plant. The blowers are probably going to be replaced, but the roof would stay intact, so we're not wasting money going forward. This roof will continue to be used. Questions?
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, number 2, you can stay put, or number 3,
I will.
I'm sorry. Discuss quote for collector well pump repair project.
Yeah, the rainy well has been in rehab mode for the last couple months. A few months ago, we approved Lane for doing the rehab of the rainy well, so it's been down and out of service. So we're using our gravel pack wells and a little bit of lake water right now while that's down and out. It's pretty close to being complete, and we're encouraged. The results have been very good so far, so we're glad to hear that. Part of the process is to pull the 3 pumps. There's 3 vertical turbine pumps in the well. There's 2 large ones, about 2,700 gallon a minute, and 1 small one, which is kind of a starter pump. Each time this happens, the pumps are pulled, they're taken back to the shop, blasted, analyzed, figure out what exactly needs to be done. Last time this process happened, we did defer some maintenance on some of the pumps to save some funds, but we're able to recoat and fix some of those items with some Band-Aids. This time, though, some of those things that didn't get done last time need to be taken care of now. So pump 1 and pump 2 both really need all the column pipes, the shafts, and the pumps themselves, the pump part themselves at the bottom replaced, and those are about $50,290 each. Pump 3, a little more on the rebuild side, we're just using some of that equipment, reusing if we can, $31,483 for a total of $132,063. If approved, they're actually down at shop now, so they would do the work, bring those back here in the next few weeks, and probably get those installed in the next 30 to 45 days or so. So we're trying to get the rainy well back in service for the summertime. In terms of big picture budget, Rick and I were kind of trying to figure out how to balance the budget a little bit. And so as we remember with the Massive U standpipe, that came in about $180,000 under budget. Rick and I had talked about doing some tank mixing in that for water quality maintenance. Probably going to defer that because in looking at it further, really our water quality in that tank is pretty good. So we're able to defer that $100,000 on the tank, maybe reinvest that into these pumps. The majority of the water for the whole city comes from these pumps, so they're a pretty critical asset. So while I don't enjoy the larger number, I would recommend the City Council approve this item. Any questions? Okay.
Thanks, Jamie. And last item, discuss quote to purchase used pickup truck. And Superintendent Herron's here to talk to us about that.
Yes, good evening. As the older aldermen all know, I asked for a truck a month ago and they okayed it. By the time we went through everything, I called to tell them to take the truck, they had sold it. So I didn't. The guy got away from us. So in the meantime, I found another used one. It's a 3/4 ton Chevy with 60,000 miles on it. And I'd like to make a request to purchase that for $14,126. And that's coming from Marl's in Greenfield. We looked at just ordering another new truck, but they said they're 20 weeks, 24 months out while summer's over. And my summer help, I need to get something for them to drive around and work and to help us out too. So I think this truck more than fits our bill for that. And maybe next year we can get on the ball and get another new one ordered for next year. This truck will probably last 4, 5, 6 years. You know, It's a sound truck. All right. Any questions? Excuse me?
You sold a new truck.
Yes. Yep. But they basically said the first check there gets it, so, you know, I don't know it.
That's how they use that's how the cars are nowadays.
It's hard to find any used vehicles right now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Rick. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing no public comment, we'll adjourn the workshop session. And if I could, I would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Here.
Cook,
Here.
Hannah,
Here.
Odenettle,
Here.
Ruben DeSellis,
Here.
Scott, Speed,
Here.
Wankel,
Here.
Watts,
Here.
Williams, Mayor Izzard,
Here.
City Attorney Beard.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a reading of the minutes this evening? Alderman Bartlett is
I move to accept the minutes as distributed.
very good. Alderman Bartlett, second by Alderman Large Oldenettle, all the muscular dystrophy, right? And we tried that word 4 times earlier, didn't we? Please respond by saying aye. Wait, for all those in favor of the minutes, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Boy, bad night. Okay, any petitions?
No petitions.
No petitions and any communications?
I have one communication. It's from the Jacksonville Area Center for Independent Living. They're requesting use of the community park and senior center at Community Park for the annual Wheelathon, be held June 11th, 2022. Getting it up there a
They're
little early.
getting- yeah.
They do this every year. Apparently, they didn't do one last year, and apparently they're not doing one this year either. That might be a typo. I'll double check with them, but that probably is the 2021. But I'll check with them to make sure, getting a permission long before. They just go in and use it, and they'll use it from 8 a.m. until about 11:15, so it'll only be for the morning use. Any questions on it? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Skip. And no claims tonight.
No claims.
One item under the mayor's report is the appointment of Rebecca Houston and Greg Olson to the Historic Preservation Commission, term to expire December 1st, 2023. And is there a motion for those two individuals? Alderman Cook, second by Alderman Wonko. All those in favor of appointing Rebecca Houston and Greg Olson to the Historic Preservation Commission, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Consent, or is there any public comment at this time? Public comment? Consent agenda items tonight. Finance, IT, and Personnel. Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 2 items tonight. First is the city treasurer's report for April 30th, 2021. And the second item is the resolution authorizing reimbursement of the STU funds to the state of Illinois for $56,899.
Okay. Planning and Public Works. Alderman Wonkel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 3 items tonight. Number 1, resolution authorizing the city clerk to accept the notice of state award for the Rebuild Illinois Fast Public Infrastructure Grant, and that's for the well surge suppression system. Number 2, resolution approving engineering agreement with Hutchison Engineering for the North Diamond Street improvements. Number 3, resolution approving alternative number 3 from the IDNR Jacksonville Town Brook Strategic Planning Study Report for flooding remediation.
Thank you. Public Protection, Alderman Large Oldnettle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one item, resolution authorizing the waiving of advertisement for bids and acceptance of proposal from LifeScan equipment and software for the Jacksonville Police Department.
Thank you. And Utility, Alderman Wonkel.
We have 3 items tonight. Number 1, resolution approving engineering proposal for the wastewater treatment plant blower building roof replacement project. Number 2, resolution authorizing waiver of advertisement bids and acceptance of proposal for collector well pump repair project. Number 3, resolution authorizing waiver of advertisement for bids and acceptance of a proposal for a used pickup truck. And I so move.
Is there a second under the consent agenda tonight? Alderman Cook? You've heard all the items under the consent agenda. Is there any you wish to pull for further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ruben DeSellis,
Yes.
Speed,
Yes.
Wonkel,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
motion passes.
And real quick, I just wanted to thank, why those 2 individuals are in here, Jim Burke and Jamie Hedden. They were very instrumental along with, the past council and folks, but we just, approved over, $1.3 million worth of grants. So that's a pretty big deal. I mean, that's good money spent in good spots, so thank you guys. Okay, committee reports tonight. Planning and Public Works, Alderman Large Oldnettle, or no, Alderman Wonkel, sorry.
I would have done it.
Well, I know you would, Lori.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First reading of an ordinance vacating of unnamed extension of North Westgate Avenue. And I so move.
Is there a second? Alderman Speed.
Be it ordained by the city council that an unnamed extension of North Westgate is shown on the attached map be and is hereby vacated.
Any discussion?
So I have one question.
Yeah.
So who will be maintaining the road? Will they, or will, they will? So if we give it over to them,
They take over maintenance of it. To the extent there's any utilities, they remain in place and we still have access to water and sewer, but they're gonna be maintaining the road from here on out. And in fact, have been
They
maintaining
have,
it for the past few years anyway. That quite often their snowplows will get out before the cities for that part of town, and they'll just go ahead and scoop it out there too.
Any other discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Watts,
yes.
Wonkel,
Yes.
Speed,
Yes.
Ruben DeSellis,
Yes.
O'Donnell,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Yeah, we're keeping them well. I mean, this, yeah, really. Any old business this evening? Anything that we need to discuss? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good.
And,
It is.
Erin's not here, but she's done a really good job of promoting the citywide garage sale. I talked to her yesterday. She has over 150 households now that have signed up for the citywide garage sale. She's been spending a substantial amount of time going to communities and just really promoting the citywide garage sale. So it's really, really, really good. She says she's got people coming from Ohio and Chicago and Indiana that have called and inquired about overnight accommodations. So I think it's fantastic. It is this weekend, so if anyone does have social media and you have the opportunity to share it on your Facebook page, I would encourage you to do that and to continue to support Alderman Williams and her project.
Very good. And we also have our citywide cleanup that in June, the 7th or the 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thursday,
10th,
Friday,
yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they will be accepting TVs, which is a big thing because if we don't accept them, then they're left out in the boulevard or on Country Club Road or out at Lake Jacksonville on the south side or wherever in the county.
And Mayor,
So-
shouldn't we clarify that the TVs are from residential homes? They should not be coming from businesses who are trying to get rid of all of their,
We've had that in the past, some,
Yeah.
yeah, hotels that
coming in by the truckload.
Yeah, I think the guys are versed now that when they see that happening, they really check for the ID if you're from Jacksonville. Now, you know, this is a Jacksonville thing, however, you know, they're going to allow some things, some leverage there. But TVs, it's gonna cost the city, but it's gonna cost us one way or the other. So we chose to just do it this year. We're looking into also a disposable day again. We did one a couple years ago where we actually got some grant money from the state and it had the hazardous day or waste, the paint that's not dry. You can put paint out, but you have to dry it out. But this is where you can take paint that you don't want to dry out and hazardous materials out. That was out at the county fairgrounds a couple years ago, and we're trying, but a lot of communities are as well. So it's just they kind of look at how long ago has it been, and they try to grab other communities, so. But those are things on our list. Any other new business to
I
talk
don't-
about tonight?
I don't know if this is new, but C.D.
Yeah.
Davidsmeyer, when he was on the council, used to say this at almost at every meeting, and I'm noticing it.
Yeah.
Please do not put your mowing clippings in the street. Make sure you blow them back onto your property, because it's a safety issue. It clogs up our gutters and our system, but I'm seeing a lot of that, and so if there's any word, that we can get the word out about people making sure that they blow their clippings in their yard, that'd be great.
I have a mow crew now, so if they see it, they stop and they blow it back into the yard.
Now, Brian, I know under new business, you had an item, correct? You had two or one?
At least one.
Okay.
I have some good news, as Dan laughs.
Yeah.
So most of you probably know one of my priorities is to get the vacant and abandoned properties into productive use in town. Part of that plan includes a land bank, to which Dan and I have been working on, an intergovernmental agreement with Morgan County, Adams County, and Quincy. They're all forming to get together to start a land bank, and I'm hoping to get permission from the council to do the same thing. A land bank's main purpose is to take foreclosed, abandoned, vacant properties and turn them into productive use. A land bank has more authority than a city, municipality, or a county to do that. They can wipe the taxes and the liens off and start from scratch quicker than we can do. So I'm hoping to get permission. Did everybody get the information that I sent last week on that? I'm not sure the proper channel to do that as far as getting permission to do that. We probably have to put it on an agenda
We'll have it on the
and do
agenda,
that.
I think, for the next meeting. So
Okay, if anybody has any questions, let me know. You can email me, you can call me. If you need more information, let me know. Something that goes along with the land bank is the partnership we're forming with IDA that I told you the last meeting. And that would be through different grants, and some of those grants would go for reimbursement of some of the demos that we've done in the past, and it would also go for future projects, which brings about the good news is Friday we got notification that we received a $55,000 grant for last year's demos that we did. Last year we had over $70,000 in demos, so it helps quite a bit, and we have, I think, 5 going through the docket coming up. We just had a fire over the weekend. So that's a good news. That's hopefully first of many grants that we get from IDA. The squeaky wheel gets greased, so it finally did get greased. So it's been a uphill climb, but now we're in the system. Jeff Torricelli says, once you're in the system, the money will continue to flow, so I'll continue to put in for the
You
grants.
worked hard on this, Brian, so good.
So that's my first trophy, but first of many.
It
Thanks.
kind of puts the sting of owing the state that money earlier that we passed, the STU, from years back. We got the grant, so it kind of evens things out, so to speak, so that's a good thing. Alderman Walkle?
I just want to touch on, we had the downtown tour for those who didn't attend. Mr. Nyberg and his team at the inspection department received a good kudos from Eric Hack on his renovation. Said him and his department are great to work with, and I just wanted to share that with the rest of the council, so.
Very good.
Good job.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, any other good news tonight? Okay, well, is there a motion to adjourn? Alderman Cook, second by Alderman Hannett. We are adjourned.